Hello and welcome back. TikTok is both partly the love of my life and also the main of my existence as a therapist. As much great content is on there and as much as I like seeing people talk about mental health, there is a lot of misinformation and just a lot of muck to get through. So today I present to you my 6 favorite TikTokers that focus on DBT and or BPD. In this video, I will show you a video from each of their TikToks, kind of displaying their style, and that way you can kind of get to know them a bit. What I did not include, and there are so many videos that are really repetitive, nothing wrong with them, just really repetitive. So if you're missing this content, you might have seen it, and you might have seen it 100,000 times, is diagnostic criteria. There is hundreds, thousands of videos that I saw myself who are dancing or singing to a popular song, and it's like, you have borderline personality disorder if you have these symptoms floating around me. I took anything that was diagnostic off the list just because I would like people, if able to, seek out professional help to get a diagnosis, or at least go to the DSM or another format and not be like, oh my god, I'm diagnosing myself off of a 15-second TikTok. The other thing I did not include that I saw a lot of videos on is a specific skill. It's called TIP, T-I-P-P. It's also known as ice diving. It's putting your head in a bowl of ice water. It has its benefits. I'm certainly not anti using the skill, but probably the #1 DBT thing on TikTok actually is just people talking about and using the skill. It's useful. It's great. There's plenty of people that are doing it, so you don't want to kind of call anyone out in specific for having nearly identical videos. So here are my favorite 6 TikTokers that are creating DBT, dialectical behavioral therapy, or BPD, borderline personality disorder content. First up, we have Jenna Marie live on TikTok. I specifically like this video. It talked about being in public and hanging out with friends and all of a sudden having that feeling, which is pretty common to people with borderline personality disorder, that people don't want you there, that you're not welcome, kind of this fight or flight, I want to run, and the idea that everyone hates you. I really like this video. I find it pretty relatable for a lot of people that I work with. I think overall, really well done, and overall has lots of videos that are sort of similar to this, some personal stories, and overall feel like they speak to a lot of people and are interesting, good personality. I would definitely recommend you to go ahead and follow Jenna Marie live. Next up is _B_in_BPD, which focuses primarily on borderline personality disorder. I also did go ahead and subscribe, and I like the fact that a lot of the videos are both relatable. There's also a number of videos that talk about dating, being single, which I think is really interesting. It's something that maybe isn't super talked about. Also, putting the B in BPD talks a lot about stigma, which I talk a lot as well about and really like. Next up, the third one is Tattoos and Therapy. I believe Tattoos and Therapy is a therapist or therapist in training, which I think in the UK and other countries is like intern level therapy, so completed school and is working towards hours, I believe. So Tattoos and Therapy is the handle, and talks a lot about from a therapist point of view, which obviously I can relate to as well, and talks a lot about DBT skills, goes into depth and makes it interesting to learn DBT skills. I tell my students this all the time, kind of keeping in mind that whatever way you learn DBT, or it reinforces your learning, the better. And it might seem silly, maybe untherapist of me to say, but if that is through watching TikToks and it helps to remind you to use DBT stress tolerance skills, it is helpful. Next up is BPD Relatable, posts a lot of information on borderline personality disorders, you can imagine, discusses the stigma of it and posts it in not just like a relatable way, but this kind of heart-to-heart style that, I don't know, something about it always grabs at my heartstrings a little bit, kind of very personal connection, and definitely kind of gives you some level of emotion in looking at her work. 2 more to go. We have Healing with Jazz, which is JAS. Also somebody else who posts about borderline personality disorder. I specifically like how much mental health general content is on their page, and the specific TikTok focuses on borderline personality disorder in fictional characters. I must admit, I had to go to the comments. I'm, about at 40, so maybe I just don't know a lot of who these characters were. I didn't recognize all of the characters. Back in the day, we would talk about certain movies that had BPT representation or what was presumed to be borderline personality disorder. So I don't know all of these characters. I think one of them is from Euphoria, but overall kind of interesting. I also like looking at mental health through the lens of media, so that is interesting. And then last up is danky.doja, danky.doja. Overall talks a lot about mental health issues, borderline personality disorder, and DBT. I, of course, went ahead and followed it. I personally like the sort of raw, like sitting in my room, more casual, I guess, approach to mental health, TikTok. And I found, once again, this person relatable, easy to understand, and discusses a lot about their DBT journey, which is pretty awesome and, of course, interests me. So feel free to go ahead and follow. I will also add a little end disclaimer here, as I did a little brief preview of each person I have mentioned. There are a lot of people on TikTok who are sharing information that could be triggering, upsetting. There's a lot of talk in general regarding borderline personality disorder and self-harm and eating disorders. So in saying that, kind of tread carefully as you start to look around any social media platform. I think TikTok is easy to kind of get stuck in. And then all of a sudden your feed is a little bit of a spin cycle. So be careful with who you follow. Let me know in the comments if there's anyone that I missed, if there are therapists or other people sharing their stories. I'm always interested in following a more diverse audience and looking at these TikToks. I must admit, they are mostly white presenting women. I did scroll for quite some time, actually almost an hour, and came across very little else. So if you have anyone else that you'd like to add that I should be following mental health, borderline personality disorder, or DBT, feel free to leave it in the comments, and feel free to share what your favorite mental health TikToker is. So as always, take care and stay skillful.